Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, looking at the screens that showed nothing but darkness. His hands gripped the metal rail as he stared at the communication panel. For 3 days, every signal they sent toward Earth came back empty. No voices, no data streams, no emergency broadcasts, nothing. The Phoenix drifted through deep space far from any human settlement. Jake had been leading a survey mission to map unknown star systems when the silence began. Now he wondered if his crew might be some of the last humans alive in the galaxy. Lisa Harper walked up beside him, her tablet glowing with readings from their long-range sensors. She was the ship's science officer, a woman who rarely showed worry on her face. Today, her eyes held fear. "Jake, I've checked every frequency we know. Earth isn't just quiet. Every human colony, every space station, every ship registered to human command has gone silent at the same time." Jake felt his stomach drop. Humanity had spread across dozens of star systems over the past 2 centuries. They had colonies on hundreds of worlds and thousands of ships traveling between them. The communication network that connected all human settlements was one of the strongest in known space. Ben Carter looked up from his station near the back of the bridge. He was young, maybe 25, and had joined the crew fresh from the academy. His voice shook as he spoke. "Commander, I'm picking up transmissions from alien ships. They're talking about us. The Zephyrian Trade Union is asking what happened to all human signals. They say everything went dark at exactly the same moment 3 days ago." Jake closed his eyes and tried to think. The Phoenix was 6 months away from the nearest human outpost, traveling in a region of space where few ships ever went. If something had destroyed humanity, his crew of 43 people might be among the only survivors. Amy Ross, their navigator, brought up a star chart on the main screen. Red dots marked every human settlement they knew about. All of them showed the same status: no signal, no response, no contact. "Commander, we're getting priority messages from multiple alien governments. The Galactic Council wants to hold an emergency meeting. Everyone wants to know what happened to humanity." Jake had served in space for 15 years. He had seen wars, natural disasters, and equipment failures that killed thousands of people. But he had never seen anything like this. Entire civilizations didn't just vanish overnight. Dr. Harper pulled up more data on her tablet. "Jake, look at this. The last messages we received from Earth weren't distress calls. They were normal, everyday communications. Weather reports, shipping schedules, news broadcasts. Whatever happened, nobody saw it coming." Ben's console started beeping with incoming messages. He read them quickly, his face getting paler with each one.
"Sir, the Ethereal Collective is reporting the same thing. The Symbiotic Alliance confirms it too. Every human signal in their space went dead at 1432 Galactic Standard Time. That's down to the exact minute across the entire galaxy." Jake walked
to the front viewport and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth was still spinning around its sun. The blue world that had given birth to humanity was still there. But something had happened to every person on it and every other human world. Lisa joined him at the viewport. "Jake, whatever did this had to be incredibly powerful. We're talking about technology that could reach every human settlement simultaneously, across thousands of light years." The thought made Jake's skin crawl. Any force that could affect every human in the galaxy at once was beyond anything they understood. It was beyond anything any known civilization could do. Amy called out from her station, "Commander, I'm plotting a course back toward human space. The nearest colony is New Boston, about 4 months away if we push our engines." "Do it," Jake said. "But first, send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them we're investigating what happened to our people." Over the next few hours, more alien ships contacted the Phoenix. Every major species in the galaxy was trying to understand what had happened to humanity. Some offered help. Others demanded answers Jake didn't have. Dr. Harper worked through the night, analyzing every piece of data they had. She studied communication, logs, sensor readings, and reports from alien ships that had been near human space when the silence began. "Jake, I found something strange," she said the next morning. "Our deep space monitoring stations recorded an unusual signal just before humanity went silent. It came from the direction of the galactic center." Jake looked at the data on her screen. The signal was unlike anything in their databases. It wasn't radio waves or laser communication. It was something that seemed to work on principles they didn't understand. "What kind of signal?" he asked. "That's just it. I don't know. It's not like any form of communication we've ever seen, but it was incredibly powerful and seemed to be targeted specifically at areas with human populations." Ben looked up from his station with wide eyes. "Ma'am, are you saying something from the Galactic Core reached out and did this to humanity?" Lisa nodded slowly. "That's exactly what I'm saying. And if I'm right, we're dealing with something that makes every other civilization in the galaxy look primitive." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The galactic center was over 25,000 light-years away. Nothing they knew about could send a signal that far and have it affect specific planets with such precision. Amy finished plotting their course and turned to face the commander. "Sir, if we're going to investigate this, we need to be prepared for what we might find, or what we might not find." Jake nodded. "Set course for New Boston Colony, maximum speed, and keep monitoring all frequencies. If there are other human survivors out there, we need to find them." As the Phoenix jumped into hyperspace, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading into something beyond their understanding. Humanity hadn't just disappeared. Something had reached across the galaxy and taken them all, and whatever had done it was still out there among the stars. The silence from Earth was complete and terrifying, but it was only the beginning of a mystery that would change everything they thought they knew about their place in the galaxy. 3 weeks later, the Phoenix arrived at the edge of the Sol system. Jake Morrison had never seen so many alien ships in one place. Hundreds of vessels from dozens of different species had come to investigate what happened to humanity. The sleek, silver ships of the Ethereal Collective floated alongside the crystal vessels of the Resonance Empire. Living ships from the Symbiotic Alliance pulsed with bioluminescent lights next to the geometric craft of the Mathematical Consciousness. Every major civilization in the galaxy had sent representatives. Admiral Chen Wei of the Zephyrian Fleet contacted the Phoenix directly. His blue-scaled face appeared on the main screen, his large eyes filled with concern. "Commander Morrison, our sensors show no signs of warfare in this system. No debris fields, no radiation that would indicate weapons fire. Your people simply vanished without a trace." Jake looked at the tactical display showing Earth in the distance. From this far away, the planet looked normal. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown continents. Nothing suggested that 8 billion people had disappeared from its surface. Dr. Harper had been analyzing sensor data for days. Her workspace was covered with charts, graphs, and holographic displays. She looked exhausted but determined. "Jake, the last transmissions from Earth were completely normal. Traffic reports from New York, weather forecasts from London, shipping, manifest from Tokyo. People were going about their daily lives right up until the moment they vanished." The alien fleet kept a safe distance as the Phoenix approached Earth's orbit. What they found was more disturbing than any war zone. The planet was intact but completely empty of human life. Ben Carter's voice cracked with emotion as he read from his sensors. "Commander, I'm detecting no human life signs anywhere in the Sol system. Not on Earth, not on Luna Base, not on the Mars colonies or the asteroid mining stations. Every human installation is dark." Survey teams from multiple alien species began detailed scans of human worlds. The results were consistent and deeply unsettling. Human technology was intact and undamaged, but showed no signs of recent use. Cars sat abandoned on highways with their engines still running. Meals were left half-eaten on tables. But there were no bodies anywhere. Amy Ross had been coordinating with alien navigation officers to map the disappearance. "Sir, it's the same. Everywhere. Every human colony, every outpost, every ship. People just stopped what they were doing and vanished, but nothing was damaged or destroyed." Jake ordered a shuttle mission to Earth's surface. He took Dr. Harper and a small security team down to investigate New York City. What they found there would haunt him for the rest of his life. The city was perfect. Buildings stood tall and undamaged. Traffic lights still worked. Electronic billboards still displayed advertisements. But every street was empty. Every building was vacant. It was like someone had removed every human being while leaving everything else exactly as it was. Dr. Harper used her scanner to analyze a restaurant they entered. Jake, the food spoiled naturally over the past few weeks. Coffee cups are still on tables where people left them. Personal belongings are still in offices and homes. Whatever happened, people didn't have time to pack or prepare. The security team spread out to search for any clues. They found none. No signs of struggle, no weapons discharge, no indication that people had been taken by force. Everyone had simply disappeared at the same moment. Back on the Phoenix, Jake received reports from alien survey teams visiting other human worlds. The pattern was identical everywhere. Human settlements empty but undamaged. Technology working, but unused. Personal items left behind as if their owners had simply stepped out for a moment and never returned. Ben discovered something that made Jake's blood run cold. "Commander, I've been analyzing the timeline more carefully. The disappearance began exactly 17 minutes after our deep space monitoring stations detected that strange quantum signature from the galactic core." Dr. Harper looked up from her analysis of the signal data. "Jake, I've been studying that transmission. It's unlike anything in our scientific databases or those of any alien species I've consulted. This signal was designed specifically to interact with human brain patterns. The implications were staggering. Something at the galactic center had sent a signal targeted specifically at human consciousness, and somehow, every human who received it had responded by disappearing. Admiral Chenwei requested another meeting with Jake. The Zephyrian leader looked troubled as he spoke. "Commander Morrison, my scientists have been analyzing this phenomenon. We believe humanity wasn't destroyed. The evidence suggests they were transported elsewhere by technology we cannot comprehend." Jake felt a mix of relief and terror. Relief that his species might still be alive somewhere. Terror at the thought of what could have taken them. Dr. Harper made the connection that changed everything. "Jake, look at the targeting parameters of that signal. It was calibrated for human neural patterns, human brain chemistry, human consciousness. This wasn't random. Someone or something specifically wanted humans." Over the following days, more disturbing evidence emerged. The signal from the galactic core hadn't just reached human worlds, it had somehow identified and affected every human. Everywhere, even those on alien ships or in deep space. Amy Ross plotted the signal's path through the galaxy. "Commander, whatever sent this message had detailed knowledge of human biology and the location of every human settlement. They knew exactly where we were and exactly how to reach us." Ben suddenly called out from his communication station. "Commander, I'm receiving a transmission. It's on human frequencies, but it's coming from the direction of the galactic core, over 25,000 light-years away." The message came through clearly, spoken in perfect English by a voice Jake recognized. It was Dr. Elena Vasquez, who had been the director of Earth's Deep Space Research Institute. "To any humans receiving this message, do not fear for us. We are alive and well. We have been chosen to participate in something beyond our wildest dreams. Humanity has been invited to join an ancient intelligence that has guided the galaxy for millions of years. We cannot return to our old lives, but we have found our true purpose among the stars." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Jake stared at the communication console, trying to process what he had heard. Dr. Harper was the first to speak. "Jake, if that's true, then humanity wasn't abducted or destroyed. They were recruited, chosen, invited to join something greater." Admiral Chenwei contacted them again, his expression showing amazement. "Commander, we have detected similar transmissions being received by other species throughout the galaxy. Humanity appears to have been selected by beings of incredible power and ancient wisdom." Jake looked out at the empty Earth spinning peacefully in space. His species was alive, but they were gone forever. They had been chosen for something beyond his understanding, leaving behind empty worlds and a galaxy forever changed by their absence. The investigation had revealed the truth, but the truth was more incredible than any of them had imagined. Humanity had evolved beyond the need for planets in physical form. They had joined something vast and cosmic, leaving only memories and empty cities behind. 2 months after the disappearance, Jake Morrison received an unexpected message. A human ship was approaching their position near Earth. The automated research vessel Endeavour carried Dr. Samuel Pierce, a physicist who had been working at a remote research station when humanity vanished. Dr. Pierce was a thin man with gray hair and intense eyes behind thick glasses. When he boarded the Phoenix, he carried with him data that would change everything they thought they knew about what had happened to humanity. "Commander Morrison," Pierce said as he entered the bridge, "I've been analyzing the quantum resonance patterns from the day our species disappeared. The signal that preceded the event wasn't just a summons. It was an invitation that could only be accepted by conscious choice." The alien scientists who had been studying the phenomenon gathered around Pierce's holographic displays. Dr. Veltar, the leading researcher from the Ethereal Collective, extended her crystalline appendages in a gesture of deep respect. "Dr. Pierce, this technology operates on principles that stretch the limits of our understanding. The beings who created this signal can manipulate consciousness itself across interstellar distances." Lisa Harper studied Pierce's data with growing excitement. "Sam, look at these patterns. The signal wasn't broadcast randomly. Every transmission was individually calibrated for specific human brain chemistry. Each person received a personalized invitation." Pierce nodded as he brought up more displays. "Exactly. And here's what's most remarkable. The signal didn't force anyone to respond. It presented a choice. Every human who disappeared made a conscious decision to accept the invitation." Jake felt his mind reeling. "Are you saying 8 billion people all chose to leave at the same moment?" "Not exactly," Pierce replied. "I believe they were shown something that made the choice inevitable, some vision of what they could become, what they could be part of. The signal allowed them to see possibilities beyond their current existence, Ben." Carter had been monitoring deep space communications when his console lit up with activity. "Commander, I'm receiving another transmission from the Galactic Core. Multiple voices this time." The message came through in overlapping voices, all recognizably human. Jake heard Dr. Elena Vasquez again, but also Colonel Ryan Torres from Earth's Strategic Defense Command and Professor Lisa Kim from the University of Mars. "To our friends who remained behind," the voices spoke in harmony. "We want you to understand what has happened to us. We have been invited to join the architects, the ancient intelligence that seeded consciousness throughout the galaxy. We have seen the true purpose of intelligence in the universe, and we have chosen to become part of something greater than any single species." The transmission continued with Elena's voice taking the lead. "The architects have existed since before the first stars formed. They guide the development of consciousness, waiting for species to reach a level where they can join the cosmic community. Humanity is the first species they have judged ready for full integration." Dr. Pierce analyzed the signal as it came in. "Commander, this transmission contains data streams that our equipment can barely process. The humans who joined the architects aren't just alive. They've been enhanced, evolved, transformed into something beyond our current understanding." Ross had been plotting the source of the transmissions. "Sir, the signals are coming from deep within the galactic core, from a region where no known civilization has ever ventured. We're talking about an area with massive black holes and gravitational anomalies that should make survival impossible." Dr. Veltar spoke up, her voice filled with awe. "The architects are mentioned in the oldest records of every spacefaring civilization. They are the mythical first intelligence, the ones who supposedly taught the galaxy how to think. Most of us believed they were just legends." Lisa Harper made a connection that sent chills down Jake's spine. "Jake, if the architects have been guiding galactic consciousness for millions of years, then humanity's role in the galaxy might have been planned from the beginning. Maybe we were always meant for this." Pierce brought up historical data from Earth's databases. "Look at human development compared to other species. We achieved faster-than-light travel centuries before most civilizations. We established diplomatic relations with dozens of alien species in a fraction of the time it usually takes. Our expansion rate, our adaptability, our unique approach to problem-solving. What if it was all preparation for this moment?" The transmission From the Galactic Core resumed, this time with Colonel Torres speaking. The architects have shown us the deeper truth about our place in the galaxy. Humans weren't just another evolving species. We were cultivated, guided, prepared for a specific purpose. Our role now is to serve as bridges between the architects and the younger civilizations. Dr. Pierce studied the quantum patterns in the message. Commander, I'm detecting something incredible in this signal. The humans who joined the architects aren't just communicating with us. They're communicating through space and time itself. They exist in a state that transcends normal physical limitations. Ben's console registered another incoming transmission, this one from Professor Kim. To those who wonder if we made the right choice, know that we have seen the future of consciousness in the universe. The architects maintain the balance that allows intelligence to flourish. Without their guidance, civilizations rise and fall in endless cycles of conflict. With their help, consciousness can achieve its true potential. Jake walked to the viewport and stared out at the stars. Somewhere, in the vast darkness of the galactic core, humanity was learning to exist as part of a cosmic intelligence older than planets. They had evolved beyond the need for physical bodies, beyond the limitations of individual consciousness. Amy Ross calculated the implications of what they had learned. Commander, if humanity has joined beings with this level of power and knowledge, then our species has essentially become gods. The question is, what does that mean for the rest of the galaxy? Dr. Harper found part of the answer in Pierce's data. Jake, look at this. The architects don't just guide individual species. They maintain the structure of consciousness itself throughout the galaxy. They prevent the kinds of conflicts that could destroy all intelligent life. Pierce nodded grimly. And now humanity is part of that system. We're not just humans anymore. We're guardians of galactic consciousness, working to ensure that intelligence continues to grow and evolve throughout the universe. The transmission from the galactic core came through one final time with all the human voices speaking together. We cannot return to what we were, but we will always remember what we came from. Earth was our beginning, but the cosmos is our destiny. We have joined something eternal, something that will guide consciousness long after the last stars burn out. As the message ended, Jake realized they weren't just receiving updates from missing friends and family. They were hearing from humanity's transformation into something beyond mortal understanding. His species had become part of the fundamental forces that shaped reality itself. The discovery changed everything. Humanity hadn't been taken or lost. They had graduated to a level of existence that most civilizations could barely imagine. But their ascension had left behind a galaxy that would have to learn to function without the stabilizing influence humans had unknowingly provided for centuries. News of humanity's transformation spread through the galaxy faster than any ship could travel. Every civilization, from the most advanced to those just beginning to explore space, struggled to understand what the humans had called the Ascension. Jake Morrison found his ship at the center of the most significant political crisis in galactic history. The Phoenix received visitors that Jake had never expected to meet. The ancient Watcher Collective, beings of pure energy who had observed the galaxy for millions of years, materialized on his bridge. Their representative appeared as a shimmering form of light that spoke directly into everyone's minds. Commander Morrison, the being called Echo said without words, in our endless observations of galactic development, we have never witnessed the architects directly intervene with a developing species. Your people have achieved something unprecedented in cosmic history. Dr. Pierce, who had become the Phoenix's expert on the architects, studied the energy patterns of their visitor with fascination. What does this mean for the rest of the galaxy? Are other species expected to follow humanity's path? Echo's response came with feelings of ancient wisdom and deep concern. The architects choose carefully. In millions of years they have guided countless civilizations, but they have never before invited an entire species to join them. Humanity possessed qualities that made them uniquely suited for ascension. Lisa Harper had been analyzing behavioral patterns of alien species since humanity's departure. What she found was deeply troubling. Jake, aggression levels are rising across every civilization we've studied. It's like humans were providing some kind of stabilizing influence that nobody realized existed until we were gone. The evidence was overwhelming. Amy Ross showed tactical displays of increasing conflict zones throughout the galaxy. Commander, territorial disputes that had been dormant for decades are suddenly escalating. The hegemony is mobilizing fleets toward collective space. Trade routes are being militarized. The peace that held the galaxy together is falling apart. Ben Carter monitored communications from across known space, and the reports grew more alarming each day. Sir, the Galactic Council is in chaos. Without human diplomatic missions mediating disputes, old enemies are remembering why they hated each other. Species that cooperated for centuries are breaking off relations. Dr. Veltar from the Ethereal Collective contacted the Phoenix with urgent news. Her crystalline form appeared on the main screen, showing signs of stress that Jake had never seen in her species before. Commander, we need to understand what humans did that maintained galactic stability. Our analysts have discovered that human diplomatic interventions prevented over 3,000 potential conflicts in the past century alone. Without your people, we are seeing the resurgence of ancient territorial and ideological disputes. Jake received another transmission from the Galactic Core, this time from Colonel Ryan Torres. The former military commander's voice carried weight and authority even across impossible distances. Jake, the architects have shown us the truth about humanity's role in the galaxy. We weren't just another species exploring space. We were cultivated specifically to serve as peacekeepers, to prevent civilizations from destroying each other through endless warfare. Pierce analyzed the quantum patterns in Torres's message. Commander, this explains why humans were so naturally diplomatic, why we could find common ground with species that had been enemies for millennia. We were designed to be bridges between different forms of consciousness. The political implications were staggering. The Galactic Council found itself completely restructuring as member civilizations withdrew from cooperative agreements. Without human mediators, species that had worked together for centuries were unable to resolve even minor disagreements. Amy Ross tracked the military buildups happening across the galaxy. Sir, the Resonance Empire has activated defense fleets in 12 sectors. The mathematical consciousness has sealed its borders for the first time in 800 years. The Symbiotic Alliance is recalling all diplomatic missions. Lisa Harper discovered something that made the situation even worse. Jake, I've been studying the psychology of galactic politics. Humans didn't just mediate disputes. We provided a neutral perspective that other species trusted. Without that trust, every negotiation becomes a potential trap. The Phoenix received messages from the few hundred humans scattered across the galaxy. People who had been too far from major population centers or too isolated to receive the architect's signal clearly. Dr. Lisa Chen from the Proxima Centauri research station. Captain Mike Rodriguez commanding an exploration vessel in the Outer Rim. Engineer Kate Sullivan maintaining a deep space monitoring array. All reported the same thing. The alien species they worked with were becoming increasingly aggressive and suspicious. Cooperation was breaking down at every level, from scientific research projects to basic trade agreements. Ben received another message from the Galactic Core, this time from Dr. Elena Vasquez. Her words carried both sadness and urgency. To our scattered family still among the stars, you must understand the gravity of the situation. The galaxy maintained peace for over 1,000 years because humanity served as an unconscious, stabilizing force. Our departure has removed that stability. The remaining conflicts will escalate into wars that could destroy entire civilizations. Jake called a meeting with his senior officers to discuss their options. The Phoenix had become something between a refugee ship and a diplomatic vessel, carrying some of the last free humans as various alien factions tried to recruit or eliminate them. Dr. Pierce presented his analysis of the situation. Commander, we're facing a cascade failure of galactic civilization. Without human influence, species are reverting to territorial and survival instincts that haven't been seen in centuries. The careful balance that maintained peace is completely gone. Amy Ross showed projections of how the conflicts might spread. Sir, if current trends continue, we'll see at least 6 major interstellar wars within the next 5 years. The death toll could reach into the trillions. Lisa Harper found some hope in her research. Jake, the remaining humans still have the same qualities that made our species natural peacemakers. We may not be able to replace 8 billion people, but we might be able to preserve what humanity brought to the galaxy. Jake looked at his small crew and thought about the massive responsibility they faced. Less than 1,000 humans remained, in normal spaces scattered across hundreds of star systems, but they carried with them the knowledge and skills that had kept the galaxy peaceful for generations. Echo, the Watcher Collective representative, spoke into their minds again. Commander, the architects did not leave you behind by accident. Those humans who remained serve a different but equally important purpose. You are the guardians of peace among the younger species. Ben received one final transmission from the galactic core, this time from all the ascended humans speaking together. To our brothers and sisters who carry on our work, remember that humanity's greatest gift was not our technology or our strength. It was our ability to find understanding between radically different forms of consciousness. That gift remains with you. Jake realized that his small crew faced an impossible task. They had to somehow preserve galactic peace without the massive, human civilization that had maintained it for centuries. But they also understood that this was why some humans had been left behind. The architects had planned for this moment, ensuring that humanity's most important contribution to the galaxy would continue even after the species had evolved beyond physical existence. The ripple effects of humanity's departure were tearing the galaxy apart. But perhaps those same ripples could be redirected by the humans who remained, if they could remember what made their species special in the first place. 6 months after humanity's ascension, Jake Morrison faced the most important decision of his life. The Phoenix carried 43 of the last free humans in the galaxy as 3 separate interstellar wars erupted across known space. But Dr. Pierce had discovered something that changed everything they thought they knew about their situation. Jake, I've been analyzing the quantum resonance patterns from the architect's original signal more carefully. It wasn't just a call for ascension. It was also a test of character. The humans who didn't answer weren't rejected. We were chosen for a different purpose. Lisa Harper looked up from her research station with excitement mixed with fear. The scattered humans who remained all have something in common. We were all in situations that prevented us from receiving the call clearly. Deep space missions, quantum isolation chambers, remote research stations. But Sam is right. This wasn't random chance. Jake received confirmation from other surviving humans across the galaxy. Dr. Lisa Chen at the Proxima Research Station had been conducting experiments in a shielded laboratory. Captain Mike Rodriguez had been in hyperspace during a long-range survey mission. Engineer Kate Sullivan had been maintaining equipment in a deep space monitoring array, surrounded by electromagnetic interference. All of them had been protected from the architect's signal by circumstances that seemed accidental, but were starting to look intentional. The revelation came through another transmission from the galactic core, this time from Dr. Richard Stone, Earth's former chief scientist. His voice carried wisdom that seemed to come from beyond human understanding. To our family who remained among the stars, your presence in the galaxy is not an oversight. The architects require both forms of human consciousness. We who ascended serve as their agents among the cosmic powers of the universe. You who remained serve as their guardians among the developing species. Jake assembled his crew in the main conference room as reports flooded in about the worsening galactic conflicts. The hegemony and the collective were mobilizing massive fleets for what looked like the first major war in over 8 centuries. Smaller species were choosing sides or trying to flee to neutral territories that no longer existed. Ben Carter had been coordinating with the few hundred remaining humans, scattered across dozens of star systems. Commander, everyone is reporting the same thing. The alien species they worked with are asking for help. They remember how humans could solve problems that seemed impossible. Amy Ross plotted the locations of every surviving human on the galactic map. Sir, we're spread thin, but we're positioned at key points throughout civilized space. If we coordinate our efforts, we might be able to prevent the worst conflicts from escalating. Dr. Pierce made contact with alien scientists who had worked closely with human researchers. Their responses revealed something remarkable about humanity's role in galactic society. Commander, I've been talking to colleagues from a dozen different species. They all say the same thing. Humans had a unique ability to understand perspectives that seemed completely alien to everyone else. We could find common ground where others saw only differences. Jake realized that his tiny crew faced an impossible task, but it was one that only humans could attempt. They had to somehow preserve the peace that their species had unconsciously maintained for generations. Lisa Harper studied the psychology of the conflicts erupting across the galaxy. Jake, these wars aren't really about territory or resources. They're about fear and misunderstanding. Species that cooperated for centuries have forgotten how to trust each other without human mediation. The Phoenix began its new mission, traveling to the first major conflict zone between the Resonance Empire and the mathematical consciousness. Both species had been allies until humanity disappeared. Now they were preparing to fight over a disputed star system that had been peacefully shared for decades. Jake met with representatives from both sides, something that would have been routine for human diplomats but was now almost unprecedented. Emperor Crystalline of the Resonance Empire was a being of living mineral who communicated through harmonic vibrations. The mathematical consciousness sent prime algorithm, an artificial intelligence that existed as pure mathematical concepts. Your Majesty, prime algorithm, Jake began, using the formal address protocols that human diplomats had developed over centuries. Help me understand how this dispute began. Both representatives spoke simultaneously, their complaints overlapping and contradicting. The Resonance Empire claimed the mathematical consciousness had violated mining agreements. The mathematical consciousness accused the Empire of emotional decision-making that corrupted logical resource allocation. Dr. Pierce, serving as Jake's cultural advisor, recognized the pattern immediately. Commander, they're both right, but they're arguing about completely different aspects of the same problem. The Empire sees this as a matter of honor and trust. The consciousness sees it as a question of efficient resource distribution. Jake remembered his diplomatic training from years of working with alien species. Your Majesty, I understand that your people value honor and the keeping of agreements above all else. Prime algorithm, I know your species seeks optimal solutions that benefit all parties involved. Let's find a way to honor both perspectives. The negotiation took 3 days, but Jake and his team managed to broker a solution that satisfied both species. The key was helping each side understand that their different approaches weren't wrong, just focused on different aspects of the same goal. Amy Ross received reports from other surviving humans who were attempting similar diplomatic missions. Across the galaxy, Captain Rodriguez had prevented a war between the Symbiotic Alliance and the Hegemony by helping them remember their shared history of cooperation. Dr. Chen had mediated a trade dispute that threatened to collapse the galactic economy. But the task was enormous. Less than 1,000 humans were trying to do the work that 8 billion had done unconsciously. They were succeeding in individual cases, but larger conflicts continued to escalate. Ben received another message from the Ascended humans, this time from Colonel Torres. Jake, we want you to know that your work is more important than you realize. The architects have shown us how consciousness develops throughout the galaxy. Without the stabilizing influence of natural peacemakers, civilizations destroy themselves in endless cycles of conflict. Jake looked at the tactical display showing dozens of potential conflict zones across known space. Each one represented millions or billions of lives that could be lost if ancient hatreds were allowed to reignite. Lisa Harper made a breakthrough in her analysis of human diplomatic success. Jake, I figured out what made us so effective. We didn't just mediate disputes. We taught other species how to see problems from multiple perspectives simultaneously. That's a specifically human cognitive ability. Dr. Pierce expanded on her discovery. Most alien species have highly specialized ways of thinking that make them incredibly effective in their particular areas of expertise. But humans developed the ability to shift between different cognitive frameworks. We can think like warriors when we need to understand military concerns, like scientists when we need to analyze data, like artists when we need to imagine new possibilities. Jake understood what they were saying. Humans weren't just diplomats. They were translators of consciousness itself, helping different forms of intelligence understand each other. Amy Ross plotted a new course that would take them to the largest brewing conflict in the galaxy. Commander, the Ethereal Collective, and the Watcher Alliance are mobilizing for war over philosophical differences about the nature of consciousness. If that war starts, it could draw in half the galaxy. As the Phoenix jumped to hyperspace, Jake reflected on humanity's incredible journey. 8 billion humans had ascended to join cosmic intelligences older than stars, but a few hundred had remained behind to carry on the most important work their species had ever done. Ben received a final transmission from the galactic core, with all the ascended humans speaking in unison. To the Guardians who remain, know that your task is not to replace what was lost, but to teach the galaxy how to find peace without us. Show them that different doesn't mean enemy. Help them remember that cooperation is stronger than conflict. Jake smiled as he looked at his small crew. They were no longer just the survivors of humanity's disappearance. They had become something new, the bridge between humanity's cosmic destiny and their old role as peacemakers among the stars. The galaxy had changed forever, but perhaps that change could lead to something better. If the remaining humans could teach other species to think like humans, to see beyond their own perspectives and find common ground with radically different forms of consciousness, then maybe the galaxy could maintain peace without needing humans to mediate every dispute. Earth had fallen silent, but humanity's voice would continue to echo across the stars in two forms. The ascended humans would work alongside cosmic powers to guide the development of consciousness itself. The remaining humans would teach younger species how to build bridges instead of walls, how to find understanding instead of conflict, how to grow beyond their limitations and reach for something greater than themselves.